진짜데. 자, 라하나저 니마니마. 그래서 뭐마 디셰라 그래서 emotion 컨트롤이 탑란이 셰라. 근데 단대대 미사오 카시스도 아니냐. 틱스 셰나로 아니냐. 지 디펜더 심보요 그랬어.
So this is a series of Sundays, and as was mentioned the previous Sunday, it's beneficial to look at methods for watching the emotions and controlling the emotions. And there are two methods we looked at to help with that.
드린디 양자 틱스 셰네. 가르서나 나눠서 메제와 미메제 세죠로. 미메제 라디나라. 내주 야고 내주 도자 상상라. 수수 내단 야고 유베 카둘라 수수 야고 용거레스로. 상상라 내단스라 제 규진도 어디야? 저 야고 마테디. 양저 지 심축조야로다 강에디 용거여다디 내가 비어서 스케요 말해. 그 뒤나나도 스트레스.
Yes.
용기 강에 직 용기 강에 직 파세게 세게. 그 미수술라 캐사우도 하다디 먼저 남보잖아. 수술 레그 온게. 중레스 레그 레마레스 요래. 규진다 젠 유단 젠 체모데질 되네. 내단담만 연대기도 하다디 매버스 내가 틀라 유서스케요 말했어. 단다지 용심배 강에 나래. 다 강에 들어와. 다 기부디 당한서 다 셰고 말해라. 그래서 기부 유배 카둘라 정말 하호스 되고요. 다저 지슈디 그래서 지 메제나라 수수 내당 깔래 하고 요베들라네. 컨데스 간서 동네시단달라. 밖에제 셰나 저런서 대용어 지주톨라도 말했어.
Under that light, then it's a good to reflect on watching the emotions and having methods to deal with the negative ones. Again, just thinking on this life, this human life. Sometimes for us things go well, and then there are other times when things don't go so well. That is the case. So sometimes when things are not going so well and we have these negative experience, the mind tends to worry, to get perturbed, and over and above that, we also project things. We see things in an incorrect way. So to some extent, those difficult circumstances, that's going to come. That's going to happen. That's just there. And it almost seems like when one difficulty has released, another one comes. So that seems to be the case. That's a reality. So then, that's a reality. So from the human perspective of Buddha Dharma, we can look at this in terms of karma and cause and effect. Whether it is we're meeting these difficulties or not, or to what extent they ripen. And in some sense, that's okay. It's okay to acknowledge that and to have a method for experiencing that and bringing that into your life. So then the question comes, how do you bear it? How do you have a method with dealing with difficult circumstances? In a sense, we talk about dungel tangdulen, which means being able to take on these difficulties as they come. Okay, so we're not going to speak so much about the happy parts. You all know about that. It's good to be happy and we like to be happy. But what about the difficulties when they come on? What's the method to be able to take on the difficulties and bear it? That's very important.
저랑저 내단 만들고디 요약하도라 베나 베나 류게 내 헤덱도 다 나자든데 용거로 시긴겐서도 다 나자든데 용거도 안 그런 들어.
Yeah.
다소서 유행아마고는 데부지 용거래. 아니 삼로단단지기 미망고지기 아니 나자디 야 더블스에너 봐. sim기 양자 퇴버스네로 심대진 당아 베사송 당아디 나자들레송 안다 시야얌 당아니 베 relationship 야고 종마송 다니 베사서 선다 베직 자자 당보 자자 직 주주다워지 강에요나 아니 심기 대강라야 자자 굽주자와 넘베서 자자 자담바 sööner와 심대치야다 아니 점블링나다 알레 도요 말했어 스스스스마 pushing down share down 아니 디심데 온게 칼라서마도와 아니마고바 계지신이 맞춰봐 근데 연구도
Yeah.
네 이거나서 연구요 데 셈게 터버스나 근데 연구도 와서
Yeah. So even talking about these kind of bad times, like when you have a headache physically, or if there's a worse sickness, it's important to think that there might be a past cause there that's responsible for some kind of present result. But what's important is that one doesn't make it double. Don't make it worse by overthinking it. So when you're sick, you think, oh, I'm sick, I'm really down because I'm sick. Or if the relationship goes awry, oh, I'm alone, my relationship kind of stopped. So what we're finding is that there might be a 10% difficulty, but you are hallucinating 90%. So then that 100% problem becomes a big thing for you. The mind here has exaggerated. And what we come to feel is that it almost seems like, oh, it's only me in the world that has this problem. It's only me because of that hallucination. So, and if that becomes extreme, we tend to put ourselves down, give ourselves a hard time. And then if it goes continually like that, we can't eat, we can't sleep, we don't want to speak. Somehow we're not very good at bearing those things. We have to be able to be tolerant with them.
저단다 자저 굽주 야면나 자저 굽주 야면나 자저 납주 다 자저 납주다 베소고요 다지다 삼노야고 다나 만차다 자저 자로 생무 söö래로 이내 양도 유단 젠선의 소고 나자셔다 지강에도 때때때 용되게 열어 이 요와디 자저 주나 자저 굽주 자저 납주나 납주 퇴버스네 자담 söö셔라 당도 탑시 가르쳐서나 터버스버디 자주 주나네 자주 굽주 서버다 납주는 납주 서버디 디싱그 서션 강에디 싱그 세고 그래서 디세나 아니 강에디 수수 강에디 수수 충으로 당송하라
So what we come to find then is that, you know, if the things are only a little bit negative, but we're exaggerating 90%, that's quite hard to bear. Well, if it was just 50% and we make 50% exaggeration, that's a little bit easier. In short, what we're saying is a lot of these problems are 100% mental. You have made them worse. So in that sense, think about it. When you get a sickness in body, it has a cause and condition behind it. But if it's only a small thing, you could exaggerate that 90 to make it 100 or even the 50, as we mentioned. In short, what's being said is that because the mind made these things worse, then it's up to the mind to deconstruct and make it better. Now, the question comes, what's the method to make space in the mind to make it better?
아니 니 후야라 다디 니 후야 돼 하셔래로 가시 샴부템 발갈레 가시 셰니로 아니 가시 당스탑로 아니 가시기 수수 강에 템버제스 창동 지고요로 로 강에 대해서 탑시디 지고요로다 아니 가시기 수술 갑자고요로 이 맹강을 칭 멤버기 갈땐 그래 매 닥스 망부테래로 멤버 닥스 잔녀때 온 거래네 세토면 도와돼. 심강에 디제 탑란 디제 세토면 내갑 템버지레. 내갑 템버지레면서 양양자 베나니 니콩나 니세사도 양자 템버스도 아니 셰 dan스 탑과 도이나로 천하공라 dan스 탑 깔레카 쇼괴 치우서 원니고 니 양자 야 강에데 다가란 심나라 다가란 데도
Yes,
매우서 내가 템바 제르미시 매우서 토요 말다 간다.
So let's think about these methods to remove the mental unease, the mental stress. Well, some people sleep.
Sleep's best.
Sleep is best for a lot of us. Others still like to exercise, to go to the gym, to work it out, and then some, they like to listen to music, to dance. Some yet like to take alcohol. Some yet like to go to the doctor to get a prescription or even an injection. Well, think about it. These are temporal methods, because what you're not really dealing with is the underlying cause. And these are just temporal things only. You might sleep, but when you wake from that sleep, somehow that underlying mental unease is still there. And it's the same after a night dancing. There might be a temporary relief to your worries, but again, the next day you still have that. So therefore, it's still in the mind. So what to do?
제가 다 곰자 낭배 슝나래 근데 털람만 보여래 저저 좀 럽존체 니스스 삼로다 다 곰자스도 곰시스네로 안데라 삼로다 근데 스스스 이제 이게 다 털람도 배주체네로 다 먼저 뉴질랜드 푸드스 투어나 가르치나 투어들 가보다 알아 먼저 낭배나라 emotion condition 투어 빼먹고
Okay. So therefore, within the framework of Buddha Dharma, the methods to meditate are vast and to study the mind. So that's what we should do. We should become habituated with these methods to study the mind. What method are we going to use? In New Zealand, the guys like to think that they're courageous emotionally, so therefore we have to work with that because
New Zealand is told 가르치나라 잘라서 가보다.
Yeah. They like to use they like to work on their cars.
말에 그 잘라서 yap제 첸서다 그래서 갈라고 그러더래요. 토당 어디서 갈라 그래. 될라 갈라. 잘라 라그랬는데 여러 메가닉이 잘라던데 tools 뭔가다.
디낭신 낭배처나. So like the guys who like their workshops and they like their tools to fix things. In Buddha Dharma, we have a workshop of tools for the mind, which is meditation.
the chanso다 그래서 konchamburido 가시. 그냥 먼저 투어도 콤비켜레스.
But a lot of the tools that we like chainsaws, are really expensive. But these tools of meditation are very cheap.
콘체타는 미녀녀라고요 말이지.
So like
콘체타는 the volume do tendo다.
The cheaper ones, people can't buy them, so they think, oh, there's no value to it. Ironically.
대중에 콘첨부 써가지고.
Maybe we should make a expensive meditations.
저라서 $50 제하고 $500 제하고 $1,000 $10.
Yeah.
가는 거 같아요.
Yeah. What do you want? A $50 method? 500? 1,000? What is it?
아유, 다들이 만나서 정보선장에 free 딴 것이라.
But today we're friends, so let's all do this for free.
당번들라 emotion 들려는데 다 가도 따내와. emotion 가도 딱 그러와. emotion 들 연구도 하다. 연구로 와. 신뢰 맞아요. 가와도 알아봐. emotion 가도 내가 계속 나서 계시 저런 emotion이 있으나 내가 랍쇼 네 탑란 되고 있어. 단단 미스지게 알아야 네 emotion 이 있어서 랍님도 아니 게 저도 송 말해.
So then the question is, as I've mentioned, when your strong emotions come up for you, these negative feelings, where is it? Where is it? Can you find it? If you have a way of finding this, please contact me and I'll give you give me a call, and I'll give you a method to deal with it. But so far, since I've been saying this, no one has contacted me to say where they found the emotion.
나 참란데 당보야구나. 나데 이모션 찍어 말해. 동해당. 어느 상상랑도 relationship 강에 된데도 와. 아니 강에 간데 가리 강에래다로 와. 삐개 좀 버려. 난정도다. relationships 도보 찍어 말해. 내가 친이당 보스한테 바로라. 강에다 거의나 먼저 믿으면 되어지고 와.
Yeah.
되어지. 하와데 단대 주제데 21st century 미상마 밀어 되어지라 가보시오세. 이제 등산 많자. 등산 소셜 미디어는 주로라.
Ale.
금전대로 하고 밀어 되어지. 아니 치냐고요래. 시민냐고요. 와 그 자리다 돼서 그 레하지. 튼도들라. 아니 그 파고가 가져 당신나 개요 뭐 밀는데 말아 파질람는 줄라용 거래 어디 가우면도 라용 거래 여기서도 알아 미 세상 대전에 등산 망보지 밀어 되어지 용도 좀제인데 가고 여자래 와 내려와요 말해 그래서 가왕이 강에대 가와래도 강에대 가래래도 와 강에지 유니어와 일 코랑 오 코랑 가래도 삼무당 당부 니버데 대 가제 마데베체 티 가네 중도로 티 가네 중도 어다 마도 티 가와도 냐냐 삼다 마데베체
티 규던게
규디 가네 중도 어디 삼당 거다
Not only talking about when the emotion comes up for you, where is it? Search for it, can you find it? But also these difficulties we go through in relationships, these worries, these problems. How is it? Where is it? What's coming up for you? We get into all kinds of relationship difficulties. We all get into problems with our boss, but somehow we have to make connections with people and interact with them. And in this 21st century, those connections seem to be getting more difficult due to social media. We seem to distance ourselves from actually relating to others and others' issues. So in that sense, a lot of us using that social media, we just have dogs and cats because it's easier. Because if we have a pet, a dog and a cat, no matter how much we talk to them, they won't talk back. But if you have a partner or a person, you have to talk to them and you have to work through the issues. So really, in reality, with humans in this current juncture, it's not easy, is it? It's not easy to relate. But it comes down to do two things. Firstly, when you're experiencing emotional problems or those types of difficulties, what is the entity of the problem? What's its nature? Secondly, we should reflect, does the problem that we're going through have a source? Why are you going through that? What are its causes? What are its conditions? These are good reflections.
어디 탑란이버데라 삼노데스 당고래라 가네 충도로 야스도 아니 단다 강에 대 충스로 알규치그러다 다 대배 가보도 그러지 네가 내단 네단 가보 쉬어도 가네 충도 당봉해 수수 깨지시다 수수 내가 시단 가래도 양아랑 족보에 날 보스나 네 시단 가래도 근데 이제 야야야야 도나 간삼질라 유진 가셔야지 하고 그래요
야
유진 가셔야지 먼저 하고 그래 유진 가셔야지 야저 장먼저 하고 그래 근데 내가도 직 수수원의 expectation 전부 요하다 아니 수수 레지 근데 제바다 아니 표적에 막아야 되냐 수수 내가 지금 요한데 라토용 거라
야
근데 용거다 수수원의 야구체는 미표적 막아오던데 용거다
야
아래다 알레다 저랑 내가 지난디 저랑 거기요 말아 봤어
야
아니 코로나는 뭐 라인 거로 네가 가고면 되잖아 나 저랑 알고 제가라 나 수수 내가 뒤 주었던 거더라 내가 주었던 거 내가 시단디 주었던 거도 내가 kum시ingen 바데 당에 정부셔라 저는도 나 조부 침바 사장 망보였던데 내가 조부 많자 자원 망보 조부 망보 여러 먼저 되어체라 콘솔 강에 가르도다 강에 콘솔 나그르티바 가보도 가르도스 아니 아니 가디네 지 기징나라도 나 남상에 대로 롱랑도 나 기징나라도 나로 기징라고 차나 angege tero nga kondo saro dos nga jun te morandi kejeshen ajade ale chanani nimdo de chare chambu de goresro 그럼 미 하고 도스로 미 하고도 지당 그럼 기징 배 데디냐거든 어디 가면 도 그럼 기징 날로도나 장모 적어서 시작도 어디 가면 도스로 근데 라고도 enge thogol da chara kijing na do sanna chara kijing jangmo so gresra temena kijing na dujo amar se jana koge na thogode re na chara dero chara kijing na lo chokbo so de ga gumen dul lagdo this jangmo so gresra kora da nga de jo da ko ma kumshi ka고 도스라 디 수수 jangmo so kashi 용으면 도와 아니 그런 카사네요. 다디 저랑 그 장마스러지. 나야고 연구면도 바카산신 안래 나 탑시 지기에서 나랑 오늘 베스트 지기나 내 장마스 모든 저랑 양자 더블 장마스였어. 근데 접랑 그랬어. 재무제로. 어딘데게 다그 강에도 친주지 간래이나 내가 막 하먹고 오는 거서 아니 강에 튀기다. 내주디 시나 개개요 말은 돈다 친주 간래. 와 단다 춘주 지게는 아주 강에 용되기도 와. 다 하코나 빈준이 라트웨이나 개요 말에 라마트네 커뮤니케이션의 매네 아니 용구도 강에 어떤 데로 그랬다. 대릭도 다 수수 삼로당 거라. 와 간에 중도 가르래도 데데리샤 아니 상상 오벤 만드체제 네 만디고 가르도 나가 랍시스라나 야고요 상상하러 네 만디고 네 저랑 마가베 내가 가르치기도 나가 랍쇼 아니 나랑 탑시지 주었던 게 있어 오벤 만드체제 셰샤나 아니 야고요데 와 어딘데로 지야요 탈람 딘데로 지나 야고다.
There is a good method here. So it's good often to think in terms of the cause, where did the difficulties come from? So this is a very important out of these two methods. So the first one we thought of was to actually explore the entity of the problem. What is its nature? Where is it? Can you find it? And secondly, to develop a sense of space. Where did it come from? What is the cause? So this helps because if you know how it arose, for example, was it the way that you spoke to someone? Was it the way that you spoke to your boss or something? And are you aware of it? So this you might come to know. So you might reflect back and think, oh, this negative situation arose around this. And you might be a little bit aware of your behaviors, or in some cases, you might be 100% aware. And that's good to have that awareness. And oftentimes, these negative situations arise because our expectations are too big. We have too much expectation, or we're lazy and we don't put in enough. We don't put enough effort into the relationship, or something. Or you might think that you're doing a good job, and you have that pride, but someone doesn't like the way that you do something. So that's also a possibility. So then that's what's going on for us. And then in that case, it's not always easy to relate. So, for example, one slight little thing that's off could upset someone. So I have a situation where I'm in touch with lots of friends, lots of monks, lots of families, and they're always explaining to me that difficulties come up. For example, there's a situation with my family where my sister has a difficulty when they can't be around like a partner in the kitchen, because when a friend, because whenever they go into the kitchen, they get angry really quickly around it because the kitchen's always dirty. So she said to me, I can't stand that, with that friend because the kitchen's always dirty. So here there's automatically a recognition of the source of the issue, which is like that. So talking to this person, I mentioned that, well, if you really don't like that situation, it's very good if you can clean it, if you can clean the kitchen, because a lot of the times the difficulties we have are around the bad habits. So can those bad habits be changed? Can we be open about it? Can you talk to the friend and say, okay, if you don't like, I don't like the kitchen dirty, so then I will clean it double. So kind of make an open joke about it. I will clean it double. I will make it doubly better. That's really good because then there's kind of an openness. Because often what we come to see is that there's just a small issue, but that becomes the problem becomes double when it's not, doesn't necessarily have to be if both parties are mutually communicating around that. So what's happening here is both parties have recognized and talked about it. But if it's not talked about, and it's kind of festered, then it can become a problem that's not a problem. Another area is that if there's that kind of open-minded approach where both of you are willing to open something out. So that's that having that open-minded attitude with others is very good for this life.
다 된다 디치니 다 먼저 수수 어다 곰데스죠.
Yes.
니마니마 곰데스죠. 디갑 사스나 양자 탑람라고 야는비 증이지 라베이나로 데스다 수수 셈이 디지소르 셈기 가와소르 디 릴레이션십 야게 다저 릴레이션십 다 강에 매베톤의 네트워크와 강에라 동렌신 메제 수수 메제 주부시지 컨데스 기억을 메토라 따라와라 상모 메제 주부시지 데제른가 주부시 되어라 아니 어디 뉴 컨데스 되고 메테도라 게제 데스 땅을랑도 곰데스 잡서.
Now I think we'll do some sitting meditation together as we normally do, and then after that we'll perhaps look at more of these issues around cultivating a sense of well-being, a sense of mental peace. Of course, we want that in our relationships. Often around that area, we have difficulties. So there has to be a method by which we are able to be patient and bear it, because it really comes down to having a happy life as a human. And we have to know how to do that too. And the patience goes a long way to that.
다도 뭐 굴론 곰데스 잡셔. 굴론디 다 드링네 갑스로 수수 룡하게 쳐 그래. 저 신라 편바. 바식 체토와 지기 상하나 드링네 미상보지. 와. 네. 지단당 알아서 상무 미야고지 지대 지고요. 될래 이나야 삼바상. 밀라 펜터 같이 와. 수수 틸리 유니들. 미드들이야 펜터 같이 지기 있으라. 어디 굴론하고 지금 잡혔어.
So, first, before we meditate, we assume the correct motivation. So today, may the actions of my body and speech only help others, only benefit them. Of course, in a general sense, we're basically good people. But here, we're going to really strengthen this sense of those that are close to us to just look out for them. So try and hold that in the meditation.
아이 다 가고 말한 줄 근데 신빙이 삼번 누가 첨부지 삼번 누가 첨부지 예 된지 가고 그러봐.
So now rejoice, think how excellent, how wonderful that I have that thought to benefit other, and it has great power.
아이 당저 비니 exercise 봐. 깨봐 저는 먼저 굽자간 데도 깨봐 수 정도 되라. 아니 믹 좀나리 해야 되나 좀 제나. 나고니네 우릉고주 당와 셰바체 당 우릉주 당 우릉지 파당 셰바체네 네 곰데스 어두 잡시 어스라.
So now we'll do the breathing exercise. It's good to have a straight back. You're relaxed and yet straight, even if you're sitting on a chair, comfortable posture. Focus on the breath as the breath goes in and out of the nostrils, and then think as you breathe in, long inhalation, I'm breathing in. As you breathe out, I'm breathing out, and place the mind there. Recognize that.
단내 욱통아 되었다야. 네 욱당겨도 시행으로.
Now, make the inhalation, exhalations a bit shorter, and just recognize the breath. Ride the mind there.
아야 다 미기야 땅 미기한지 미기만 흘러시 딱 스노건 마다 아니 울 장가잖아 장가디냐 장가다 장가 숨잡 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 양 참대 샤 무슨 다다와 되간라샤 네야 장가 목수 당파다 지 주당파다 니 장가가 나쳐 숨 양 참대 샤 다다와 되간 심시와 딩 심바지 데스 어두스타 꼼데 샤샤
Now we will count the cycles of breath, the breathing meditation. So, counting, now I'm breathing in, now I'm breathing out, now I'm breathing in, now I'm breathing out, now I'm breathing in, now I'm breathing out. That's one cycle. So do 3 cycles of that. So 3 times 3. And then just rest the mind in the present moment. And then count again. But this time do 5 inhalations and 5 exhalations, 3 times. Then again, rest the mind in the present moment and observe your mental calm and peace.
Oh yeah. 다 청소를 날려야지 되셔서. 이 곧 잡샤나 건서 차고 있어.
Yes, it is.
곧 잡샤나.
So now everyone take it easy. Would you like to close the door if you're cold? How you feel? You can? Maybe it's cold there.
Maybe this close this. Oh yeah, that. 계상 매우셨어. 당기 잡고서라고. 다들 다 저 당기 디자인 봐. 그래서 곰트 리머니 저 emotions and 가와도 규진 간에는 다 규진 간에 중도 다해도. 다 대배 편도 좀 보여랬어. 디골을 삼는 방법도 하나야고 요랬어. 저도 뒤짐. 다디 한도 곰 세스도 곰 라야 돼. 조금다 제금 당긴어도 북을 장가자 대바 질라 조금서 그래 미과 직선 대간은 심마인 바체 되기도 조금서 그래 다 되네 단다 예 이모션 가와도 이모션 교칸의 중도 따기도 질라야 제금서 제금로 디 당한도 디디 딘 좀나 디 줍도 그래다 와 강에서 디세 그러면서 조금 잡시대디 좀 강의 세트고 말했어.
Yes. We were looking at, looking at emotions and trying to see where they are. And secondly, what was the cause and condition behind those strong feelings and emotions? What is the source? This second method is very beneficial. It's very good to reflect on that. So if we think about what we've just been doing, meditation, there are two types of meditation. One is called placement meditation, where you focus your mind single-pointedly on one object. So we were using the breath. The second type of meditation is called analytical meditation, where you do this kind of reflection. So in that sense, we were asking, where is the negative emotion I'm experiencing? And secondly, what is its cause? So this second method of, analytical meditation is indispensable for happiness, because just by focusing on the breath, you're not going to find happiness and remove the sufferings. But it's by analyzing the cause that you're going to have happiness.
세상다 전에 유칸에 주진칸에 중 말한서 가래나래요.
Yeah.
다디 배나 배 상로 망고 다요래. 와. 다디 ngoyne 주래. 와. 공원에 주대 누가 전부도 와. 수직이 세요만다. 다 가시야. 다 줄로그 잡종 가시 고르스르스 가시 힌두즈네 시와게 아니 심게 서버스게 요래. 근데 요만다. 소야 상만을 규진을 되네 중대 요래라디 때문에 코로나다지 규단견 파즈 태발을 되네 중대 교지를 메시지게 수직이 소녀요 마스타디.
Yes. And we find that this method of thinking on cause and conditions is important. Where do these problems come from? And it takes a lot of thought. A lot of thought, because this is reality. It's based on reality. Here, no one made it. It's not coming from an external source. Some people might say it came from God, or it might came from Shiva. It's not like that. It's not like that. It's like we have here cause and effect. We have causality.
먼저 domba 수에 켈린 지금 말했지. domba 좀 내는데 산지에게 수 켈린 지금 말해서.
Yeah, we don't even accept. Buddha made it. Buddha made you feel like that. It's not like that.
이거 리얼리티와 reality 수직 조단도 말도.
Yeah, and because it's reality, no one can change that reality of the cause and effect.
이 유전되는 중어데 세브쇼다 유전들라 타른 동요와. Right. 유전 가시에 다른 쇼베 가시에 계산 가시에 둔랑아마 가시에 롱아마 아니 가시에 야야야야로는 낭백에 아니 가시에 겨왕아마라 유전 요다. 지선다 유진 로스나나 띵사고 쉬어르드네 야 로스나나
So clear that it comes back to causes and conditions, because sometimes the cause and conditions can be from this morning. Sometimes they can be sourced back to yesterday or last year. And if we're looking from the perspective of Buddha Dharma into past lives, so many past lives. So here, just tracing that source goes so deep.
지선 윤제 가시에 웃음도 통고요래 가시에 균zen 따라 되는 신기요래 가시에 수수 신요 말다 미신예질 깨지 되고르면 신도야요 말다 딜라 세제네 숨 낭베 세제네 숨 체메도야 유들 내가 숨 쉬고 세제네 숨 찍디 수수 웃음 신기래와 다른 식의 네 깨지 세다 마디는 아니 쩌셔서와
Yeah.
티제는 아기오 마중 티 유진 찍래 티 유진 찍래와 다지네 계산 찍체서 내야야도 그래 아니 또 유진 가시에 간저 균제라 되는 신기래 내가 저거다 컨트롤사이야. 그럼 삼바 깨져 컨트롤사이 깨져 시행한 것도 그러. 더도 매도 세스도 줌젤을 듣는 신거래. 또 줌젠치 가서 배낭가서 된다 그래. 가서 가는서 바드데디 야메나 아마 야메나 날씨 얘나 멤버 도저기 칼라 이지체니 캘린더는 가서 신기며. 그러.
Yep.
그래서 가서 쓰지 가서 바드데 당겨 열들래 깨버디 미치기 쉐버들래 이지체니 가서 도대기 열면.
Yeah.
신기매와디 균질드네 시야요 말에 무슨데 신기요 말에 근데 릭배만 거여다.
So therefore, this notion of cause and effect, and that things have a cause behind them, they're produced by causes and conditions, works on 3 levels. Sometimes we can see directly the cause with our mind, and then yet other times we have to rely on a kind of sign, a valid kind of inference, and then yet at other times we still don't know. It's still more hidden than that. So we have to go to a valid source like a scripture. Now there are some beings who can directly see the causes and conditions behind things. And there are some who are not, who can't see it. And so those that can't see sometimes have to ask those that can, isn't it? So therefore, it's another case that, for example, in the first one, in terms of that direct understanding, or perhaps I said something this morning you're not happy with, you don't agree with, so you want to debate about it directly, we can kind of thrash it out. And then there might be something that happened yesterday that's more inferential, that is causing something. But then there's another type that, in dependence upon that type of inference, that you see smoke on the mountain, therefore you know that there's fire. So there's all these ways of coming to know the cause and condition behind things. So for example, just take the example of your birthday. You don't have a direct knowledge that that day is your birthday. You have to rely on the nurse or your mum to believe that. Otherwise, what's the reason? It's not just the reason it's your birthday. You can't see that directly. You have to rely on them to validate that.
This is a birthday singing US.
So he was asking you, do you know your birthday? How do you know?
Did it sometime? Music show
Yeah, we are totally believing what someone said. That you were born on that day. So Gisela has many birthdays. So many.
Right. 제가 유진사한테 배 띵사오래라 내가 어서 소야나라 제가다 뭐 계속 괜히 내주 중산교 차차래 교단도예요 말이야 산젤레네 교단도 말 거기게 교단도 말 거기 연애디 교단 단도면 다고 도대 그래 그지 로야면도 계산 친산교 지 로야면도 요 말이 차차다 데 내단데 단다요 가는 셈이 셰베이네 차랑 아주 강에 계속 괜히 내주 친차어디 양자
삼라땅으로
삼라땅 계제시 가시면 가도 있는 시에 되거든 닉데 단다면다
You know, causes and conditions in that sense go so deep in the context of our human life. And yesterday's gone. We cannot change that. You cannot. Buddha can't change it. God certainly can't. You can't bring yesterday back. You can't reverse it. But somehow the mind revolves on yesterday, and there's no point in it revolving on it. What's the point?
디 네단데 균데데 셴베이나 하는 저 셈나게 마지고 몽버징은 저 대변에 주 장용 거라 오늘은 야마르다 자차로
Really, if you think on that law of cause and effect, or the cause and conditions, we inducing all these things from the past and adding extra worry onto it pointlessly.
그나 계산기니 저랑 저거 좀 잘해셔 저셔이나 자차르다 유슈
Yeah.
다음 저 선인아니 야구 거라면서 계산돼 다 유슈 그 이나고 네가 저 대체적으로 냠뇨라로 계산 아니 저셔서 단다 가르셔서 배샤 피지시단 띵마소 잘라 피지시단 띵마소 계시시단 띵마소 차시고단 띵마소 대야고 고도 제 제일 마음과 뒤돌아서 교다나 아니 마음바딩도 야르단 도라 대바데 차차로 다디 양자 미카시에 로뉴시 숨주 공에 내단데 단다 셈나는 야디거라
Wow. So there, this maybe you had a fight with a friend yesterday. That's gone now. To an extent, you should get on with it and leave it. It's gone. But what one should take from it is the experience around it. Why that disagreement occurred. Was it around money? Was it around things? Was it around the way you spoke to each other? Was it a disagreement over a plan? Then maybe you can think about it like that. But definitely what we are focusing on now is to make the future better by being in the present. There are some people who harbor slights for 20 or 30 years.
그래서 드링 눈다 되면서 단다 저 다다 수 고급 과요와디 프시에체로 물렌체 디 촉시체 다 선인아니 교용야라 다 삼바상부체로 안에 수sen체 네 삼시체 다 데려다 디치도위나 아니 강인이 용용 아니 이모션 용도 다 마음백 이모션 간저 매우 소토그로
Yeah.
지단 도스다 다리 둔다 되면서 아니 저디 네 셈데 다다와 간라 되네 다다와 수수 촉시당 아니 가와곰 봐 아주 몽버직 촉시 지도면도 아니 가 여와 될랑 원렌체네 가와곰 도면도 디니니를 조선제 땅 말에 조선 깐직 땅 말에 믹세게 투저시라 땅 말에 믹세게 즉 효효상 다라야 가 여와 되 배낭아란즈 디나를 요 창말라 먼저 창말라 광관이도 라관이도 민이도 봐 다랑게 레 가고 공고야 봐 아지 나랑 미카실 강과야 말 카실 라고야 말 카실 미 통고야 말 카실 암조 고고야 말 먼저 창마단다 배야보다 와 아지 간대 지우래로 다랑을 지우 써야도 하고 와 김지 심볼 텐데 라야.
This is very important in terms of today's class is focused on being in this present moment and recognizing the opportunity we have now. And if we do that, what will come, and being content, that inner satisfaction. And if we're able to do that, what we'll come to see is that, tomorrow will go well.
Appreciate,
to appreciate, to be content, to appreciate what we have. In that sense, if we're able to do that, tomorrow will go really well. Don't worry about that. Because you want to be kind-hearted, you want to be a patient person, you want to be honorable. And, if you do that, then appreciating that the present moment and what we have in terms of the opportunities goes a long way to doing that. So being in the present moment, being content. Are you able to recognize at the current juncture what you do have? Are you able to do that? Think on it. You have 2 hands, 2 feet, 2 eyes, all the faculties are there. There are those who don't have sight or don't have the use of the limbs, and so forth. So just being happy and appreciating what you have and being content. We don't do that enough.
Don't make complicated reason.
Oh yeah, the last point was, to keep it simple.
Some people, I met a lot of people. I told people, if we are making lots of money, I become happy. And some people thought, if I go fancy house, I become happy. Some people say, I bought some fancy car, I become happy. And some people thought I have maybe holiday house. You have already have house, everything's oh, maybe I need some holiday house, then I become happy. This is a complicated reason. Complicated reason. No chance, right?
Yeah.
Kesi jana kangba nyechana dinda jingi excitement raji yoro. And it's house na ya yomari. Tagarang kange tagarang yor.
New house, that's okay for a few weeks and the level of excitement. Then problem come back. Straight like that.
촉시 나 가와 고마도 나나 가제 연나에 가제래. 가제 연나 가제. 미신이 되고 간투문다. 제가 symbol life 개좀 보여라.
So that sense of contentment and joy in recognizing you have goes a long way to human happiness, because we are humans who have lots of desires, and those desires are insatiable.
아니 단자 대지rin가 개무게 끼부제 대로 칼라스 해야돼서 포르지 생겨던데 사대네 집 타죠 사야로야 심지어 배 브레이크파스트 배 럭셔리 된데 시리즈 이제 컬러리 망고셔제 사는 아니 개무니 개 말상마 시리즈인데 저 가르더로야 텔레파 지금 포르지 생겨로던데 달래 도마 도서 파차된 요소로던데 사제되네 개무게니 집 타죠 되잖아 메질해야 돼 대로 끼우치지 되고요 끼우치 될 인지민지게 지 강바직보당 모르직보당 잘라직보당 근데 요네 끼우차야 좀 민도 알아 대차 좀 민도 돼 요나당 안도 갈래 잡는 되라다
So therefore it's also good to have a relaxed attitude in all areas of one's life, like around eating. You should be happy with just a bowl of porridge and happy with that. Don't be too kind of fussy over luxurious meals like, oh, how many calories has it got? And you're so serious. What's that? What kind of life is that? Don't worry, like if you have with a friend and somehow the porridge is burnt and the cutlery is all over the place, but you're having a laugh with that friend rather than worrying about, oh, I want the best home, the best car, and there's just no end to that. Try and keep relaxed.
어디로 나 좀지 먼저 디지 있어야 돼. 초월해. 디지 있어야 돼. 생각 초월해. feeling이로.
Yeah.
feelings 해야 돼. 배셔 요트에 요 말. 요트 말. 그래서 삼단단단에 써야미시지로.
That notion of happiness, well, these are feelings, aren't they? And those feelings of mental well-being, no money can buy that. That's your mental creation.
제가 야보도 배셔안도 선당문도 다 삼로데스 땅으로 삼로땅 아니 다 개지셔대 소소소 랑족 템보고다 다 강에 치셔대요 먼저 상황 반주의 쇼도다 배는 내가 진유는 수수래가데 따다체 딜레 차체게네 봐 딜레파게네 아니 도두 아니 미피조 사자가는 렘나 아니 피조데 가면도 와 아니 지 컨트롤시야 서로 된데 보스시야 서로 된데 도서 미 란시레 미디 가면도 와대 제가 미 마가야 레가데 제나 아니 또 미피조 마가나 수수마지와 아니 상무마지와 소용다 속바직나는 미직배 란시 차보여나 상마배 상마배 뚝구도 알아
Yeah.
제가 이제서 수수다 미 표적에 요단 동마를 남상한데 내가 수수수수라 아니 수수심 디지디 냐토체 안 다다가 좀전 심볼인데 삼당로 심볼인데 삼당제 아니 야가고 검는데나 냥저 단다 뉴질랜드 남시 기부도로 사자 기부도
Keeping it simple. In one level, we also go through problems because we don't have the correct understanding of boundaries, of doing one's responsibility. If you lose the boundary and you tend to overstep, then you get into like control issues, like often a problem with the boss, because there's not a kind of clear boundary thing. Or if you start doing things that are perhaps out of your area or out of your control, others might not like that. And another sense of overstepping boundaries is when you try to think that you can change others who have bad habits. And we can't actually change others immediately. We can't affect that change in them. What we can do initially is look after our own personal well-being. And that's those clear boundaries you should have. And then keep it really simple. We're in New Zealand. We have a great environment, good weather. That's okay. You don't have a debt, right? No debt. So rich. Yeah, that is really the definition of rich, when you don't have debt.
가시 밀레니아의 축구에서 밀레니아는 번호만 거예요. 라. 번호만 거예요. 가서 그걸로 번호세요. 가서 그걸로 욕했어요.
Look at millionaires. Some people say they don't have debt. Well, everywhere they have debt in the sense that there are worries, there are problems.
그래서 야보다 제가 축구 말라도 가서 쌤 나라 디지유는 축구래. 또 보면은 아니 스트레스요 말. 스트레스면 아니 쌤 나라 디지요로. 스트레스나 앵자이티 축구는 디지레야 가보더라. 축구에 지메 춘전의 쌤나라 디지 몽보에나 축구에서 갔다라. 배샤 몽보에나 축구 지고 말다.
So recognizing that it's the mental inner contentment that is the cause of your peace and happy mind. Then once there is that contentment and happy mind, stress can't come in, worries can't come in. That is so rich. That is so rich. Being rich doesn't mean having these material things, or lots of money in this.
네 갈라고 그러잖아. 보면은 축구를 해서는 아니 디지 가 쌤나. 그래서 요 한벌 요래. 요 한벌 지도도 아니 쌤나라 디지다. 겸게 먹고요나.
Yeah.
디지
your life is simple, you're humble, and you have that recognition of the inner richness of contentment. Okay, so on the other hand, why do you want to make money? What do you want to make money? Just go straight for it.
I have one friend, and he was young. He grew up in country where Sam, and he went to big city in China, and he went to university, and he stayed in a small apartment, right? Small apartment, right? Apartment, right? Small apartment, right? Apartment, right? Small apartment, right? Apartment, right? One can go like that. Or only one wages, only one person wages come one land, and the house are and multiply, house, renting house, and
Okay.
phone bill, car bill, and then insurance, blah blah laws things. He said, "No much live money. Working very hard, money go ting like that." and he, then and then his father was sick, and his father sick, and his father said, "You coming back now home?" And he coming back home, and then in the country said people life's very simple, and lots of job, not much income, but
Yep.
less spend money, groceries coming there in the. When I was young, we not much need money because everything is coming there farm. And then he give up in city, and then he stay in the countryside, and he can help people how to make him mud brick house and project helping free service. And he helping his father. Father give little bit for land for him making barley, and he said this barley once 1 year all covered. 3 months working, and then 9 months he has free time in helping village people, and he's so happy. He said, but he's still wearing very poor clothes, right? Not good quality. He said this is nothing, but he's so happy now, and he don't want to go back now in city. This show, example show it like that. Right, the several kal에 show 배샤 소투이나 배샤 도야디 파지고 도셔도
Yeah.
아니 배샤 요부도죠.
Okay.
배샤 요부도죠. 또 아미 배샤 몽부스 미교보다 이제 구육숨 교다. 근데 로고시나 야고로 되면 제 미직지고게네 배제시한다 쉬우쉬우 거야 개면도 하다. 배샤 거다 거라 먼저 토지고 아래 둘러고 아래 칼라사고 계시주 칼라디하고 싸워라. 저는 뭐지 칼라하고 시대 세금문도라. 칼라 철라마절 저 제로 ngom으로는 칼라네 사과도 팅상다 칼라만 잘 제조 먹으시지. 그래도 칼라들 배셔 망스당 둘로당 된대지 강마당 뭐라도 배셔 쉬우쉬우 땅 말이다. 그래서
Yeah.
직단도 땅보다 걸어다 지금 비주단지 걸어다 간다.
Yeah. What we come to see from that example was that it's the money comes in, but it gets scattered everywhere because there's too much emphasis on that. And in a sense, then one has become a slave to that wages, to that job, to that money. And okay, it's okay on the one hand if you are making that money to help others and make the environment better. That's another case. But if it's just for you, you'd have to question that approach. So of course, on that basic level, we need a house, we need clothes. That is there. And then these days, of course, we make a big thing about food and diet. Well, perhaps that's more important because we need to be healthy. So it's good to spend something on that. But to pay too much money on clothes and having a nice this and that, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure.
칼라를 먹을 때요. 칼라는 칼라에 없어.
Yeah. So make your food delicious. That's good.
And color say minsan color go yes.
So because these days people like their food, I'm saying yeah, I think we should make nice food. I agree with you. I'm on board.
Color say 까마야고도 사자 가오르나 칼라야.
So then you get validate that. Then you have good food karma, because we have a good environment. So wherever you go, you get good food.
맞아, 들어. 제가도 스타한다. emotion 매우서야 규진도 저래. 규진이야 상마 때지 relax 쳐요. 봐. 타르시다 시기요. 다 단다도도. 답시 약셔대. 그 규진 규조대. 담보 차르체로 딱딱 나데 딱딱 거의 까보다 낙보로 봐.
Yeah, black and white.
대 요마 까보나고 요마. 대 지들라 세 가지 열다 간다. 먼저 개와 미개와 땅용 낭발. 개와 미개와 땅용 사지. 봐. 룸마딘스. 봐.
Yeah, yeah.
낭베슌라 야메나 개와 용거래. 야메나 미개 용거래. 대 말레스. 대 버르데 룸마딘 요르스. 봐. 까보다 나고 말해 대벌로 마보다 옹보다 정구다 근데 열세.
Yes. So we've been talking about the emotions we're experiencing and how to reduce those overwhelming ones we have, the negative ones. And we've been looking at the causes and conditions behind them. Essentially, it comes down to relaxing more. Don't push oneself. Be a bit relaxed. Here is not black and white. It's not like that. It's more like in the middle of the black and white. Okay, so in Buddhism we talk about different karmic volitions, virtuous actions, non-virtuous actions, and then there's a third area, is more neutral area. So we should be more like that neutral one, not black or white, but in between the black and white there's blue, there's pink, there's all these colors.
좀 되는데 랍자자요로. 근데 탄이 있으면 가지고 그래서 배드 expensive 거 말해서 할래요. 둘로도 콘 배는 자기를 찍라 $1,000 된대 때 말했어.
야.
양배 쪼워chen 플라스틱 기쇼든 데시는 불을 넣어야게 된대 지겨워 말했어. 고든데요. 고든디 딱다래서. 고든디 딱다요래서.
Lord Buddha tried to encourage us not to go to any type of extreme, to find that middle way. And, in terms of clothes, don't go for the most expensive, like $1,000 jacket, or don't go for one that's so bad that it's plastic and it harms your skin. Try to go for the cotton one. The cotton one's just nice and loose and relaxed. It's just.
그다음에 좀 되는데 이제 랍자도서 편조 전부 빼요래. 칼라사단 랍이요래. 칼라사도 저거 동자 자자 든주 싸우래. 자자 숨주 동바 싸우래. 좀 되는데 랍자 제요래잖아. 먼저이나 좀 되는데 랍자 녀녀시다요 뭐라. 랍자 사단 도단 기지세단 녀단 차단 공부잡단 이제네. 랍이요다. 빼요고로 오늘신으로.
Lord Buddha's advice was very vast, and even in terms of, taking that middle way approach, in terms of just what we eat, he would say just leave 30% empty in the stomach. This was the advice, and then there's also advice about how to eat. But these days, what we tend to find is no one's listening to these counsels. So, like how to eat, how to walk, how to speak. Buddha went through all of that.
게지셰디 펜 밀라 펜도 미기다디나 펜도 상나다야. 게지셰디 밀라 펜도에 게지셰야. 와?
How to look upon others with kindness, how to speak to them, how to comport with a beneficial intent.
아니 타마델라 활성화해서나 존나 펜도 되면은 너무 맞겠다. 랍자들이다. 대패 펜도 전부. 와.
And it all boiled down to do your best to benefit others, and if you can't benefit them, at least do not harm them. That's a big point.
어디네. 따티체도 단단한서 다래 둔다들. 아니 곰니 규jen라다 emotion 규jen래로 emotion 규jen 칼라드네 정도. 다 emotion 수수 디기 간에 정도로 와. 대상당으로 와. 디기스나 가래도 와. 와. 디기스나 가래도.
Yes.
아니 디기스야데 수소도. 디기스야데 간에 정도. 대돌 상문 몽보담베이나 아니 디지기 규디엘 상다나 emotion 라쇼게 가로 와.
So this week we are looking at, or be meditating on the emotions and what would be the causes behind those feelings, those emotions, particularly well-being and happiness. What is it? So who makes that happiness and where does it come from? So then if you really think about it on a causal level, there's not much room in the mind for these negative emotions at all.
Sometimes we can say I'm so happy now because I'm healthy, and sometimes we have good weather,
Yeah.
and we have enough food, and also nowadays, in the other countries, there are lots of coronavirus problem. We don't have this. This makes you happy, right? The jumzen to do symbol to do samdane, ne so jibu yime jumzen to do samdang was, right?
Yeah, just keep the reasoning very simple, and in dependence on that simple approach, happiness is there.
Oh, this is that the home relaxation, you know, the home.
That's the home relaxation homework for us.
Home relaxation. If you do home at home, you do practice, you have relaxation. Short relaxation. Then that Nigun Gonda Tsule Tane, Gonda Maniagalo, Nikugala de Lane, that didn't lega Manduba Karakarache, Naduzu Pa Chushache, and Sanine, there were Chushache, Sanine and Lega Duga de Gan Yanga Machia, Tamjasha, today is some Gama Jingi to some down the dira.
When you go home and go through the afternoon and come to the end of the day as you go to sleep, it's really good to do a reflection on the day. How did it go? Were there things that perhaps didn't go so well and you might regret those things? Then you can make a kind of mental resolve to do better the next day. And just do that reflection for 1 or 2 minutes. That's it.
Da gewar mila suzu kom ja an suzu ji da mila phendo che da keji shu di ngaranzo charanzo ge da ji phama dang thokbo binja dang thokbo dang thongmo dang dozola dinde ge discussion des chene ya woyore wa digi se de khane chungdo wa ani emotion khane chungdo 강에 khane chungdo 딜라 유진 카르도 데 유진세 탑랑 카르도 딘데도라 파주 드링 치기나 문에 펜도 쳔버여 향도 많자다 패밀리 소셜 미디어 그룹 여러 데난도제 드링 아니 그런 디셰그도스 이모션 거의 메제식도스 저는 이모션이 있으나 알렌시스 아니 해피니스 있으나 카르도 해피니스 디지세 카르도스 디지 카르도스 저다나 그저 드링 채나 빼야거라 와
네.
the manchalada the WhatsApp group down family WhatsApp group so you know wa chance chenda도 와 아니 다 빈자 통이에 되는 다 로숨지선 토고요 말아 천안서 미긴데 토고야 요래데 토고면 배 선바죠 그러시는데 심 쪼셔지 되도다 룽바들이야 미디즈 심 쪼셔지 가려라나 아직 나는 빈자도 통이에 되는 즉 돈이에 돼 통이에 되거든 그거 왜 말하는 거야 천하전에 투기하게 그거 위원회 토금인도 저 지금인도 빼 줘고 다들 대당 원해 줘도다.
So then there's another reflection one does at the end of the day on the virtues, on the kind of positive side, reflecting for a few minutes how you did some meditation today, that was good, and how for somehow you would have helped others on their way, tried to help them. What's really important too is what we take from this is to be able to open these kind of dialogues with parents, with friends, with partners around the emotions. As we talked today about trying to find the negative emotions when they come up, search for them, where are they? Where are these feelings? And if there is a cause behind happiness, what are the causes? What are the reasons behind? What is happiness? So to ask these questions with friends and dear ones, what is happiness? What causes it? Conversely, if there is that happiness or there is negative emotion, can it be found? And if it can be found, recognize it. And secondly, what are the causes behind that too? I think that's a very important to open these types of discussion with family and loved ones. Have that kind of discussion. You have social media available to you, like the WhatsApp groups and stuff. What I find quite sad in some sense is that for 20 years I've been dying to see my relatives and I can't actually go and see them. But what I find in this country is that you can see them, but you don't want to, or you don't. And this strikes me as being quite almost strange and sad. When people ask me what's the saddest thing, that could be it.
개엄래 대외 니줄라 니즈도 가르치는 파 템바 제스로 마음벌 되어야고 수기할 삼다 대와 차차로 대와 앙앙에만 직직 전인이제 얘다 사무들에 다는데 처음으로
Yeah, but don't make a big issue. Past is past. Try to forget that. We often kind of go, oh, this was done, 2 was done, 3 was done. It's gone.
Yeah, 2.
How about the question?
Do you have a question? They only know. Because
Was everything clear from today?
Oh yeah, that is 제가 곰 가셔요. 딱 곰자 상서 곰자니 좋으면도.
Yeah.
저도 곰자에 팬인데 그래서 근데다 인터넷에 저 페이지 몽부체로 와. 곰기 팬 곰기 가와 핑기미 어두서 테스트하나요고요. 탭든데 로 미든데 로 주든데 곰자니 미드즈 로 주든데 로 곰자니 미드즈 간데 지부유메 텐데 테스트하이나 아니 다디 곰자는 펜도시도 삼 하고나 아니 소소 곰자를 누버디 레용으로
Now, sometimes we don't want to sit, we don't want to meditate. If that's the case, you don't feel like doing your practice, then try and reflect on the benefits of meditation. Here, we can look at that on the internet. We can find out about it in books. We can study the books of the great masters who have meditated, and you can see from those accounts, are they happy? How they are happy from that practice. And then once you start to see the benefits of meditating, you'll feel inspired to do it.
아니 단다 다름살다 표도와다 생선 빠르시를 말와 요 배유당 쪽당 다름살당 다도 여기 참바데 내다 배교로 말와 튼진도 교시오라 이나 콘서 돈라 배 게모단 시디기 동바도 말와
Tibet, Dharamsala, Bhutan, these poor countries, you see practitioners, yogis, in very poor conditions, very stark, but when we look at their minds, wow, they're so content and happy inside.
Facility is very poor, inside rich, I think now. I recognize this. And here, facility is very rich, inside is very poor. Mental problem, loss. It's opposite, you need balance, but a little bit balance. Yeah. Just 당 알아서 스스 미 레타오마 스스 대처럼서 오벤만 제데 곰니 곰 잡체도 빼고 그래서 빼고.
You are open-minded and come to know about meditation. That's so good. That's so good.
네 남바 제라 대화야 말에 로아 남바서야 미 남바서야 배 슈크게 작매 배선 게 지금에 로아 저 계시셔야 된 거는 저 남배 슝네 니만님에게 서외 강의 단단 남으시는데 배주치에 빼망고요로 아니 남바 슝데 만차 뭐니 주시기요로 리얼리티 시고 리얼리티 빼다 누가 첨버래도 수직이 주었다는 말에 그래서 저 디제를 도샤나네 수술라야 다 메제나라 단다데르와 가서 다 딩상 야랍 상주 세도 다 낭주 슝네 빼야고 삼단제 수술셈 교단단 셈 교단 레라고 요 말에 그 배전시네 칼레칼레 야제 두르 드드든디지나라 교단 두 말에로
So then one wouldn't rush into becoming a Buddhist quickly, certainly not. The most important thing to take from this teaching is that within the Buddha Dharma, there are these methods, fantastic methods for reducing the difficulties we experience. Why? Because these methods are coming from reality. And because those methods are based in reality, they have tremendous power. No one can change that, the fact that it works. So therefore, we also want to become more kind of upright people, very honorable people. But to become such a person takes time in this life. It takes effort.
Oh yeah, that is shower.
No.
Jimmy, two you know, two
Tuning up.
뒤에 가서 당목하라는 당한테 대 초보닝 받은데 투대유 되는 아니 되려요. 대 미사와 나한테는 당고이 나한테는 이와이 근데 있는 근데 삼당 말해요. 먼저 상마 나는 초보닝 받사자 특성 삼당잖아. 아니 되어티 드링체라 이렇게 되어 말봐. 세미나라 Tiwas Jinjimi Tiwayabu Kesomaro, the Karina, Karina Samsandi Tiwaro. Jadanda Chanazo Lobda Manchata, University down, Lobda High School down, the Chin size, and Tiwatanga to the Yawashingro, Nanda Yamara.
Yeah. So I really welcome your queries and questions. Maybe it's the fact that some of us are meeting for the first time. You should not think like that. You should think we're really old mates. So you can ask any question you want. Please ask questions. Whatever questions you have, please bring them. I know that a lot of you have been to university and school, and so you know how to inquire. We'll stop for today.